PS3 Network.
Bring back that beat, DJ, in my robot voice.
Man, what's good, everybody?
Yeah,
Man, I feel like we haven't been on forever, man.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
And still not at full strength.
It's still not at full strength.
These contract negotiations, man, are dragging out this year. I just don't understand. This fiscal year, man. Yeah, this fiscal year, the contract negotiations have been tumultuous, and they've drawn out, and they've been some near fisticuffs. We need to get this out. Yeah. We got people threatening to go solo. Ain't nobody here to see you, Otis.
Yeah. Sliding negotiations back across the table.
Right.
My people, we out.
Yeah. Yeah, the burial. Man, so welcome to the forecast. We review movies, films, documentaries a completely different way, for different perspectives. Every Monday night at 8:30 Central. Our good brother A-Trop will not be on tonight, but you do have the three of us. We will try at some point in time before the end of the year to get the four of us on one show, because it's been a little while, but we definitely gonna rock with tonight. And tonight's episode, as you've seen in the intro, we'll be reviewing Rustin, and this is the let me put the graphic up here in just a minute so you can see it. But this was I think a very powerful movie. But before we get into it, let's go around the horn here. Doc, I know you're doing great, but go ahead and tell the.
Yeah, I'm doing extremely well. And just before we really get into the movie and plot and all that other stuff, let me just say that this Rustin that we're talking about, for you Grambling graduates and you HBCU, this ain't the Rustin just outside of Grambling, Louisiana. This is a different Rustin. It's
different Rustin.
This ain't the one where that Outback Steakhouse sit. This ain't the one where that all you can eat buffet is at. That's a different Rustin.
Not that Rustin.
Yeah.
Right. But spelled different and look different. Yeah. But man, how you been the past couple of weeks? Did you watch Burial? I know you. Somebody wasn't on the Burial.
Yeah, record that here, man. No, I was not on the Burial, I don't believe. Saw it, but I don't think man, that's pretty bad, ain't it, man? I can't even remember, because everything I hadn't been on, I still been watching.
Yeah.
Okay, because I never knew until last minute for sure whether I was going to be able to make it or not, so I watched the stuff, so I don't think I did. I was on the Burial. I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
All right. Hey, well, if you haven't watched that yet, that is Jamie Foxx at his finest.
No, you know what? I might have been, because I said which game
you was on that one. Yeah,
I was on that one. Yeah,
Wilkes.
I wasn't in.
Wilkes wasn't on that.
Okay. Because you was ready to get down in the bottoms with
with
Mayhem down there.
Yeah, okay. Because it was gonna be if Wilkes would have been here, that would have been a different show. I assure you.
Oh,
I knew what I needed to do to drag him under. And then when I say drag him under, some folks think that means he wasn't willing to go. That's not what I mean by drag him under.
Right.
He's very willing. He just didn't know it was time to go.
Yeah, right. Suited and booted, baby. Suited and booted.
Yeah.
And Wilkes, you doing all right?
Yeah, good. Doing all right. Just gonna touch real quick on this. I have to say I've never heard of this man, and I feel like as I'm going through my mind of Black History Month and just through my life, I don't ever heard this man's name uttered.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And I think that's the point of it. That's the whole point, is that because of who he was,
right,
or I should, and again, here's the debate, right? And because of who he was, or is it because of what he was?
I'm sure it's a little both.
And now you got to get down to some fundamental beliefs in terms of with homosexuality. See, we in it already now. We didn't want to be, but we in it now. But in terms of the fundamental beliefs surrounding homosexuality in the LGBT community, born or made,
right?
Is this who he is or what he was?
I mean, yeah.
See, if you believe you're born with it like he did, because he made that statement in the movie, that means this is a fundamental assault on who he was, which is we don't know who his contribution.
And on top of that, which I'm sure y'all may have always heard, at least what I've heard, black people can't be gay. Like what?
Yes, they can. Because I've seen it since I was an early child.
Man, I've heard some crazy talk, man. Because people don't want to come to grip, like that man said. I mean, this is me. This is who I am.
Yeah. If you grew up in Garland, you knew some of my early ones. You knew who Ralph was. You knew who Ralph was. Because you knew who you knew who Herb was. They was the same. You knew it was.
You already knew.
They come twisting down the street, at an early age, and you knew.
You already knew what was going on.
They were wearing booty shorts before booty shorts was invented.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But I mean, just watching that. I mean, I said, I don't think I've ever seen photos of this man, and if he did, they never called him out in pictures.
They never put his name out there. I'm thinking all the times we watched Eyes on the Prize and all of these things we watched, I don't ever remember seeing this guy. That's and maybe and there was pictures of him walking with Martin Luther King, sitting in the car with him, but it was never like this is Bayard Rustin. It was never that. It was just No, so this had to be. I'm glad that this was told, but I'll be honest, I am disappointed that this is like the first introduction to a lot of people, unless maybe you lived during that time.
It's been a long time coming because, like I said, I never heard of this man.
Yeah. You want to get into the plot?
Just for those who our viewers who do not know, so this movie on Netflix is about Bayard Rustin, who served as an advisor to Martin Luther King Jr., the good Reverend Doctor, and he dedicates his life to the quest for racial equality, human rights, and worldwide democracy. However, as an openly gay black man, he's all but erased from the civil rights movement he helped build. Hence, me and Wilk saying we never heard of him, right? It is based on the true story of Rustin, who helped Martin Luther King Jr. and others organize the 1963 March on Washington. So that's kind of how they surrounded it. So he was involved in a big piece of the civil rights movement, but this particular film is talking about leading up to and the execution of the March on Washington.
Right. Which was a major,
major undertaking. This was directed by George C. Wolfe, released November the 3rd, 2023. You got such players in here as, of course, Colman Domingo, who played Bayard Rustin. Chris Rock is in here, who played, and with Chris Rock, we got to talk about his role.
We got to.
What he did. Okay, Chris Rock, who played Roy Wilkins. You had Glenn Turman, which we all know. You know what? If you know his face, you'll know him. He's been a character actor in so many black films. It's not funny. He played A. Philip Randolph. Jeffrey Wright, the great Jeffrey Wright, man. Yes, he was in here as Adam Clayton Powell. And it's almost like as I go over the cast and I'm thinking back to some of their performances, my mic rating is going up as I just named them, because of some of the stuff they did as I look back on it. CCH Pounder, if you knew her face, if you saw her face, you would know who she was. But you're not gonna know her by her name. But she played Anna Arnold. They had a Medgar Evers portrayed there. They had a Coretta Scott King played there, an Eleanor Holmes, a Whitney Young, a Mahalia Jackson. So it's to a certain extent, it was a I wouldn't say an A-level star-studded cast, but it was a B-level star-studded cast for sure. Well-known working actors is what I would call these people, meaning they ain't gonna get no necessarily box office roles, but they're gonna keep having roles. You know,
Right.
they're working actors. They're gonna always have a project. They ain't gonna have to go start waitressing or waitering no more. They can survive off they acting chops.
Right.
You know.
Right, or table dancing, right? Yeah.
Oh my God! See, let me just explain something to you. You stay in your lane. That's either mayhem or that's me. So you negotiations have been what they were. You are not following the script. That's what the uppers have been saying.
Talking about, man.
But yeah, man, it was let's get into Chris Rock, man. I don't know if I've seen him in a role like this. You know, Wilkes was mentioning Saw and he's in Fargo, but this was a serious role where he played the leader of the NAACP. And so this wasn't like I can have a little bit of my funny side. This was serious.
Yeah. I wanted to call it Be Your Own People. That's what I was going to change it to, but I didn't want to change the name to It Be Your Own People because they wouldn't have it, man.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have it.
Yeah. I think it's not only significant for the role that he played, but I think it's significant on how he played it, even though he was a big part of, again, It Be Your Own People that's kind of making life difficult for Rustin. In addition to that, he played it in such an understated way. Yeah. You know, like he wasn't, like trying to run the scene.
Right.
He was understated in the role. And for somebody, and Chris Rock is as big as anybody in the movie.
Right.
Okay. So for him to play it in such an understated way was very notable as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. And a direct parallel, You People. I mean, Eddie Murphy was in it, but Eddie wasn't the main character. He kind of took a back seat,
Yeah. I like seeing that because I feel like, honestly, when I watched The Burial, I felt like if I'm wrong, and Dog, maybe you picked up on this, and maybe Ben, maybe you picked up on it. As seasoned as Tommy Lee Jones is, I felt like he let Jamie do his thing.
Yeah. 100% right.
I really felt like he took that role. Like, hey, I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is undoubtedly, huge figure. But I felt like in this moment, I think he just let Jamie do Jamie. I felt that.
I agree with that. I think both of them passed it over to the guy that played what was his name, Herb or
he
Hal.
Was like was it Hal?
Yeah, Hal. Which his character, it was almost kind of like you're gonna run with some of this too, because he was in the background, but he was pushing a lot of the things. He was handing the stuff over like, hey, this is something we really need to look at. So
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So this kind of opens up. Colman Domingo also is an underrated actor. He has been in a ton of things.
Yeah, and
significant movies too.
Yeah, and directed some things.
Yeah, and he's in the show. It's on HBO, Euphoria. He's in that. Yep. He was in the movie May Rainey's Black Bottom. He was in that. So he's been in a few things that we've probably seen and reviewed.
Yeah, where I first encountered him, it's got 8 seasons now. 8 years ago, and he's a big character on Fear the Walking Dead. If you watch all that zombie stuff, but he's been holding that role down since day one. It made 8 seasons. It's in its last season, but he's even directed some of those episodes, and maybe even directed some of those seasons. But no, he's definitely. You're right, Ben. Like I said, I encountered him on Fear the Walking Dead, and then saw him outside of that universe. He's a busy man. He's got some accolades under his belt.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. So it starts off in 1960, and Martin Luther King. Let me ask you, did y'all like the casting of Martin Luther King?
I rarely do.
It's hard.
It's such a difficult thing. I didn't start giving them passes. Once I realized about 3-4 movies in that I don't like nobody y'all pick. This one wasn't bad. I think the last movie we saw with him depicted. I thought that was much worse. Like I thought they were so off on that one.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Malcolm X characters. You know, it's so hard for him that I'm like, I'll give you a pass. You know.
Yeah, I felt like this one was all right. I think he had
Paul,
the
when
he
Paul
had the
Winfield died, King died with him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, only Paul Winfield can play King. Yeah.
But he had the delivery, he had the cadence, a little bit of a similar look, and very had that calm demeanor. So I felt like they did the best that they could.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think Doc has brought this out before. I think Doc said he listened to how they pronounce their words, because Dr. King would pronounce certain words differently. There was a moment in there where I noticed, I think it was like the word savvy, well, how he pronounced it differently, but I think they try to pick up on those nuances and those cadence. So
yeah, that's right. Because did you remember me telling you when I was preparing for that role that this was back? I've been doing Dr. King so long. Okay, and I have a dream reenactment speech. Ben, you remember me doing that at church, right?
Oh yeah.
I remember
when I first started studying for that performance, I went to, this is back in the days of the library. Yeah, I went to the library and got some tapes, some cassette tapes, and I sat there and listened to speech after speech after speech to get the cadence and the pronunciation of the words. For instance, he didn't say again and again. He said again and again.
Right.
You follow me? You know, it's different, you know, and I would have never gotten that had I not dug in, because obviously I wasn't around. You know, I wasn't even in my daddy nutsack by the time he started doing speeches and stuff like that. So I couldn't have known.
He said I was just a twinkle in my father's eye.
Right, at best. I was a dream. I wasn't even one of his wet dreams yet before he started giving his speech. So and understanding his vocabulary was so vast, man. You know, where he talks about the heightening Alleghanies of, you know, and that kind of stuff. I'm like, this dude is so strong, man.
Yeah, and they touched on it a little bit in this. They talked about like the way you speak, people listen, people crowd around.
Right. Yeah. But it's almost like they hadn't really fully realized that yet, because after the speech, they looked like, nigga, you just put us there. It was like, nigga, that was the icing on the cake. Like, you just killed this, man. You know, like they knew at that moment that you just made this something that is going to go down in history. Not the 250,000 in attendance didn't make it go down in history, but what you just did with that speech just guaranteed a place in history, and this is going to be here.
Oh yeah, that's one reason I wish A-Trap could have been here tonight, because I don't know if any of y'all listen to Sirius XM, but so there's a station on Urban.
Oh, hey, no. You can't. Whoever this is, based on this profile picture, whoever this is, Miss Aaliyah 1980. I don't know who you know on this show, but you need to get in them. Hey, the King, get in the King DM. Let me holler at you. Holla at your boy.
Good evening.
Run it to me. That boy Stove Guy Cook said, "Run it to me like man, run it to me."
Yeah, man.
But it's just one of those, like it's when I'm listening to some of those talk shows on there, and a lot of the elder people call in. I think they still feel that blow of losing Dr. King, because nobody really kind of took up the mantle after that. I think, or even with Malcolm X, but I think definitely with Dr. King, and especially some of those that were there. I mean, maybe they were little kids listening or watching on TV, but you can still kind of hear it in their voice. Like to this day, I mean, they probably in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and they still have that, like, we lost one. Like, we just lost that figure.
You know, and
I wonder sometimes if that cripples us, but I don't.
Yeah, no, you're onto something. I think like this, Wilkes. I've thought about that many a time, and one of the theories and thought processes out there, and it was actually started by Ralph Abernathy when he was getting interviewed, and they asked him, you know, why has the movement taken a hit? You know, and he said because Dr. King had a Ralph Abernathy. So basically he's talking about a support system. Now, a lot of people refute that and say, no, that ain't got nothing to do with it. It's a lot of, but what I believe to be the case is that it takes a lot of people who die to self, who do not operate in pride, who operated in enough humility, because we got to have one voice, one face, that we can all support and push forward, right? Dr. King was that, right? That everybody agreed on to a certain extent. And I know that may not be the 100% case when I say everybody, but the majority could rally behind, right? Now, is it too much of that crawdad mentality to where, no, I want the spotlight. No, I want the spotlight. No, I want the spotlight. Instead of saying what's best for the movement, what's best for our people, let's put this one guy forward. And let's all support him. So it wasn't that there's no more Ralph Abernathy. There was not enough Ralph Abernathys, not enough of a support cast. Because just look at this whole thing, how big this was pulling together. You at this committee and you're having meetings with 12, 14 big figures. Medgar Evers is taking a back seat. See, in other words, I'm gonna give you an example. There were not enough Medgar Evers who was willing to sit on the background but still contribute. There are too many Clayton Powells, because you see Clayton Powell was trying to get out there and be seen and all that up.
He was trying to stir it up, man. He
come off that money.
No disrespect to Clayton Powell. I don't know enough about him to be disrespectful, but I used it in terms in the context of this movie and how they portrayed him. Just to make sure you fellas understood what I was talking about.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And I think this film showed exactly what you just said, Doc. Like, you had they knew they needed Martin Luther King because of his voice. But Martin Luther King wasn't the organizer. There was Rustin, who was an organizer, who basically they came into a building and was like, we're about to make this our headquarters. And I believe they had 2 to 3 weeks, I thought they said, basically to make this whole thing happen. But you needed all of those people collectively, even though they both had their own thing that they did. But when you come together, it's like a super team, basically. Everybody plays their role, and they're able to make this thing happen.
So to put it more concisely, the movement is struggle because the face of the movement is gone, and we can't come to a consensus, on the new face of the movement.
Right. Theodora, Blue Streak in the building. How you doing?
Freak in the building. What's up, Theodora?
Appreciate you, Big Illy. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, Big Illinois, you ain't got the ankle monitor off, or what they doing with that one? Let us know, man. And then we're gonna have the next cooking show we do. Let's get Big Illinois on so he can give us some jailhouse recipes. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
How they can make candy out of in their socks and toilet water.
You making sock muffins and sock bread.
Right.
He said laugh out loud. Hey, and something must be wrong with the Facebook group right now. I don't know why.
It doesn't seem like everybody's on.
It doesn't seem like it's streaming, so I don't. Maybe an issue with StreamYard, but yeah, I felt like it's everyone that was in this played their role extremely well. He said peanut butter and noodles.
That boy talking Asian dishes out here. That man that boy got them Asian, that Thai peanut butter sauce going on.
Right. Ooh, don't sleep on that, boy, though.
Yeah, don't sleep on it.
Ooh, that Thai peanut butter sauce. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. But I felt like they all played the role well. You already went down and kind of named all the people. I think we got everybody.
A few, I missed a couple, but I just called out the one. Like John Lewis is one I didn't mention. That I should have.
Play another one to play the back seat. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So 1983, and I think it was a little. It seemed like it was a little confusing because I thought Rustin was kicked out of NAACP, but then he was in other meetings later on. So maybe it was more like you're not sitting at the table anymore. You can be here, but you're more of just a member.
Remember, he tendered his resignation, right? And he didn't think Dr. King was going to accept it, and that kind of thing. But he did because he was getting pressure from other places. But remember when Glenn Turman's character, A. Philip Randolph, they said, okay, you're no longer in charge of this, but Philip Randolph's first move as him being in charge. He just made him my number one, guy. Right. You follow me? So he basically undid what they did. Yeah. So that's why I just gave you a seat right back at the table. You just sitting in a different chair.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because didn't he say he made him some kind of custodian or something, or
yeah, he was like his number one assistant basically.
Okay, yeah.
Is what it ended up being, which in essence he was the director of the march or whatever the case may be.
I have to say I really did enjoy this because how many times have we seen I Have a Dream, but we never really, well, maybe some of you have, but I just never dawned on me like, well, who put this together? Did people just know King was speaking and they flocked there?
They just showed up.
I'm glad you went there, Wilkes, because one of my notes was I said I'm floored by the undertaking that this required. Like this, what it was a minimum of 7 weeks. Because I know that timeline kept coming up saying, you got all this put together in 7 weeks, but I know they had talked about it a little bit before and there was a little bit of time afterwards. So I'm going to say we're talking about at least 2 to 3 months in pulling all this together, at least, because we didn't think about the funding. Like they had to get porta potties over there. They had to get food for the people. So somebody got to donate the sandwich. They got to get buses to be able to bus them in. Yeah. So you got organizations donating buses and all this other kind of stuff. So you had basically an entire fundraising staff. They
don't talk about that enough. They don't talk about how much effort and actually people were willing to donate to the cause. They don't speak on that at all.
Which is another reason why the civil rights movement has taken such a hit, because people ain't willing to pay that price no more. Right. And I'm not talking about that price just in simply being there, but the monetary price associated with it and the possibility of losing your life price that's associated with it. Because this shit can get you killed. Right? It's like we talking
Evers in this film.
Yeah. Like while we loading up, while we putting on clothes and shit, I need y'all to know this shit can get you killed. So if anybody needs to stay behind, stay behind.
Right.
I'm going. Absolutely. You coming with me? Just understand this shit can get you killed.
Right.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah, no, real deal. Yeah.
And this was put on with no technology. There wasn't no phones. There was phones, but there were no cell phones. You couldn't just easily print out a flyer. I mean, you had to. This was work. I mean, this took a well-oiled machine.
Long nights. That man said this. That man said this. What did he say? It's 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning.
And then he's like, early night. Yeah, and he looked at it and said, early night. Y'all getting up early tonight. It's only 1 o'clock.
Some work, man.
Yeah. And this is 1963. Now, where their headquarters was, I'm assuming that was in DC. Was that in DC? Or where were they? They didn't say where they were.
I think so. It was somewhere.
It obviously wasn't in the South.
It may have been in Maryland somewhere. It may have been in that area. Virginia. Somewhere close.
Probably. Yeah. It definitely wasn't.
Think about it, because you had Senator Powell in there all the time and stuff like that. So he wasn't coming in that frequently for those meetings.
Yeah, it wasn't too far out then.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest bombshells is that the nonviolent movement came from Rustin, according to this, and shared it with Martin Luther King. I thought that was Martin Luther King's whole thing from the jump.
That's what I'm saying. I think he was just the mouthpiece. They needed somebody.
What?
You got to have that person that you can.
Yeah, and I'm lying now that I'm thinking about it, man. I'm lying. Because remember, Rustin a couple of times said, "I'm going to DC, so y'all need to be." And it's like he was flying to DC.
I think it was in California.
You follow me? So it had to be somewhere different. Yeah.
It was. He was like, "Yeah, when I get back, I need y'all to have this ready as a place for us to, do our thing." But I mean, I didn't. I mean, it's so much stuff I didn't know, and I think it was probably concealed, probably for a reason. And who would you want more so? Probably during that time, who would you want more so to be the face?
Right.
Bayard Rustin or Martin Luther King? I mean, in that era, in that time, if it was today's time, it'd probably be different. But
yeah. Probably so.
But and especially if national headquarters. I'm looking this up. Where were the March on headquarters located? In Harlem.
Oh, Harlem.
Oh,
That was in Harlem.
okay.
You know, and
Okay.
now that I think about it, that scene where he was walking.
170 West 103rd Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I don't know why I was thinking
Harlem.
like
In
California. I feel like he went back, but I guess.
But yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. Somebody said, who would you rather have be the face of the movement, Rustin or Dr. King? Especially because again, at Domingo, Colman Domingo played Bayard Rustin, right?
Right.
And so he's openly gay in real life. You know, this ain't no role for him, which that brings us, because again, we are movie film aficionados, so we really need to be talking about giving LGBTQ people LGBTQ roles, as opposed to making just like we would if the man was black in real life. You know, when you're doing true stories, why would you give a white dude that role? You know, whatever the case may be, right? So that needs to be said. But so he was openly gay in real life. But did y'all think that his tooth was knocked out on that side?
Yeah,
didn't that look real?
It looked. I don't know how they did that.
Didn't that look real? So
they rocked that. Yeah, that boy got rocked.
Yeah, because I say it in terms of teeth, makeup, wardrobe. I'm like, wow, A+. You know, because they fooled me on that one. Because if you look at his real pictures. If you look at Colman Domingo's real pictures, you'll see, number one, you'll recognize him from other roles. Because I thought this might have been a first-time dude. But when I went and looked at his real pictures, I'm like, oh, that's that dude.
Right.
They did such a good job of his makeup and putting him in this character to where I didn't even know who the dude was, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had that church grill. I was like, man, he looking like somebody. Whoa. I was like,
his whole side was gone.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was a mouth, if that was some type of, I'm assuming it was some type of guard or mouthpiece.
But he definitely had a Brother Ratcliffe going on, because that boy, he got rocked. That was cool.
Yeah, man.
But and you know, the flashbacks that he was having, because he was you know, having nightmares to going back to that time and what happened, which
what did he say? The police officer did this in, what did he say, 38 or something like that, or something like that.
Right. He did it on 45? This side. You can duplicate it on this one.
Yeah.
He was funny. I mean, in that time, the just the pressure, you know, there's this artist I listen to, his name is Eshawn Burgundy. Yeah, I haven't checked him out. He's a dope rapper.
Say his name again, Ben.
Eshawn Burgundy.
Okay.
Is his name.
Is that Ron Burgundy's son?
Yeah, the darker complexion, the side piece son,
Yep. Exactly. He's the dark meat of the family.
Right. But in one of his songs, he was basically saying, like, the amount of stuff that we went through as a people, and in today's time, we say peace king, peace queen. I mean, like, we shouldn't be saying stuff like that. And that goes back to that time. Oh, my bad.
Calm down, man.
All right,
I got a little excited.
He got excited. He's sick of this shit. I'm tired as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Give me liberty or give me death.
But for him to be joking, you know, during that time, the amount of pressure that was on all of them in their own houses, outside of their houses, their day jobs. I mean, to me, that takes a different type of resilience that he had.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, I've noticed that too. I said he showed little fear, especially after such a beatdown that he, you know, taken. Generally, that'll cower you from then on, you know.
Yeah.
But he was still just as fearless and just as courageous, man.
It was pretty much like that's all you got.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. So let's see. So the Rustin and Martin Luther King rumors. That was another thing. I mean, obviously, I didn't know the guy.
I knew that was coming.
But I figured, But that's the same thing we were talking about with him and Mahalia. So,
right.
I bet there was all types of rumors that was going on during that time.
Oh, yeah, because they're trying to discredit someone with so much power, you know.
Right.
They're gonna use by any means necessary, you know. What kiss is she?
You talking about when he kissed his living boyfriend? I guess it was.
Was it Tom? It was Tom.
Yeah,
maybe that one is the one with
his assistant. Yeah, I think
he was an assistant.
Yeah, Gus Halper is the actor's name. Tom is his name. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Tom got jealous when him and who was that? Was that Elias that he was?
Elias Taylor.
Elias Taylor, the preacher.
Yeah.
The married preacher.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Get down on it. Come on there. Get down on it. If you got
really want it.
And he really wanted it.
Yeah, he did. He did. What you want to do?
He wanted some of that Sermon on the Mount. But
wow.
Anyway.
Wow. See what I'm saying? And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The What Did I Say, Wilkes? Glad to have you back. Hey, drops dynamite and then says, "Why was there an explosion?"
I mean, why was there the problem?
Because you had to see four, man. That's why.
Of course, there was an explosion.
So she's talking about the kiss with her assistant. That's what Blue Streak was talking about. Yeah, that one.
With his assistant. Okay.
Yeah. She said she was floored. He got close to the preacher. Yeah, the preacher got close to him too.
Oh, he got close already.
The preacher was with it. He just had so much more to lose, and I thought that was something too. Even Rustin said, he goes, "Well, my mama told me when you get involved with somebody, make sure they got just as much to lose as you do."
Right. Yeah. We going down, we all going down.
Which I thought was powerful because you got to think about it. Being a homosexual man back then, it was risky. You get with somebody who ain't. Yeah, you get with somebody who ain't got nothing to lose, they more likely to throw you under the bus or snitch on you or whatever. So you better make sure you got just as much to lose as I got to lose.
They were coming by that club and they would just back up the paddy wagon and just bleed people into the van or whatever. So I mean,
and at the end of the day, man, ain't that what you want to do in a relationship situation and all relationships that you want to be successful? Put some skin in the fucking game.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna put us in a situation where I got something to lose. I'm gonna put this on the line. I'm gonna invest in this in a way to where I'm gonna give you everything I got because I got too much to lose.
Oh,
I need you to put some skin in the game, so you got too much to lose.
Right.
So that was, shoot. Hey, I'm looking at that in a different way now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, absolutely. Right. I mean, hey, if you got something to lose, I got something to lose.
Yeah.
We're gonna fall together.
Let's put it on the line. That way that's my commitment. That's my where my trust lies. Right. Shit is real.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No matter how it's wrapped up, it don't matter. Shit,
right. And during this whole thing,
I'll take it. Go ahead, man. During this whole thing.
They're probably a couple weeks in. And Medgar Evers gets shot on his porch, and that could have been another moment. They was like, "Look, this is too big. We got to step back. We can't do this."
Right.
And they was like, "Nah, we could continue moving forward. We could do it in his memory."
But just think about it, man. It's so commonplace though that they were better equipped to stomach and move on. They knew. Yeah. They knew when I was that in a minute. Yeah. It's almost like how your drug kingpins and your gangsters. Since the beginning of the time, they always knew it's some consequences of this thing. The likelihood, bless you, Will. The likelihood is you're not gonna make it out of this happily ever after. You're gonna probably make it out of this dead or incarcerated. It ain't gonna, so they were comfortable in that reality. So folks working in the movement back then was comfortable in the reality of what this was. And see how people were showing up. They were showing up on their doorsteps when they would come home at night and stuff like that, and and stuff like that, and trying to intimidate you, and all that kind of stuff.
Putting stuff on your lawn.
I think like you said, it goes back to that. I've got something to lose. It's one of those things. Like I'm ready to die for this thing. Mm-hmm. I believe in this thing, but I already know there's going to be people that are going to try to thwart that. I know there's going to be people that's going to try to stop that, but I already know what I'm going to. Now I don't want to just give it up like that. Like I want to be here to see it grow, but on the other hand,
that's what she said.
It's true.
That's what she said. I want to be here to see it grow.
Don't push that down. I'll be right back.
I'm a grower, not a show.
See, okay, I'm gonna say this. Okay, let's take a commercial break right quick. Because hey, I done told you, stay in your lane. That is not your line. Read the script.
Alicia. You can't hold somebody to.
We have a script. Follow it.
all that.
That's not your line.
What did he say?
What
What that boy Willie Walker say? You stole fizzy liquid drinks, etc., etc. Good day, sir. Man,
Hey, man, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute.
Man, yeah, but no, I think they knew. I mean, even with the Malcolm X classic scene, he looking out the door, looking out the window with the SK.
Right.
You already know.
Yeah.
Hey, this is you want to come for me.
Yeah.
I know you coming, but guess what? I am not going down without a fight. You gonna sneak me, maybe, but
run up here and you gonna limp the fuck back.
You limp back.
come on, please, come on, please.
So let's touch on this benefit concert, man, because that's the point where I thought that's when it changed the game.
Yeah,
when they got your Lil Stevies of the world and some of the names they listed being at that concert, when they got them to sign on to do a benefit concert, which basically mean that for the most part they weren't getting paid anything.
Yep,
that's what was that. As far as I was concerned, that's what made it go global, so to speak. You know, where people was like, "Oh, okay, this is how we getting down." You know.
Yeah. And wasn't Frankie Lyman was there? It was. The list was long. I mean, and I'm sure
the one
that
they
was
showed on stage was Lil Stevie, but the list that they gave while he was on stage was just like it was a who's list back in the day. You know, whoever was hot was there. You know.
Yeah. And there was another movie we watched where they did a benefit basically to raise the money for something. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I mean, this was probably common. I mean, because they're going to come to a concert to see their people and for it to benefit the people. I mean, like it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Because there's a message, you know, usually, which I did see when the names were scrolling, and also, you know, there's usually a message. They're gonna have a pastor there, or
there you go. That's right. That's right.
They're gonna have a pastor in there somewhere. So definitely for the cause. I mean, that you're right, Ben. I mean, that's just what it was. I mean, it was just like, hey, this is happening. We're gonna try to get some donors. We're gonna try to get some sponsors, and this is what it's about. It's about getting this message out here, and then because tomorrow, you know, we're gonna mobilize. Or this thing's gonna come together, and we just got to show them that it's bigger than us. You know, this is for the future. I mean, I can only imagine like Stevie Wonder and you know, maybe even some of the. I mean, even with Ron Isley. I mean, if you had those conversations about that period, I can only imagine the conversations they would and stories that they've had. Or hell, even your own family members that are still living. And they were raised in those times, saw those times, and maybe even went to some of those. You know, maybe they had local get-togethers on a local level.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they had a little local watch party.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, CJ? Hey, CJ is killing it on his YouTube channel, but do not play it at work. If you do, put your headphones in. That is
come through, CJ.
Right.
CJ on it.
What is it? NSFW? Is that what they say?
Suitable for work. But I'm happy for you, CJ. I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And the film where they did the benefit concert actually was Coming to America. Y'all remember? Pastor Arsenio Hall and
that's right.
Sexual Chocolate and I mean, but that boy
good.
Good and terrible.
Boy, good.
But I believe the children are off each other. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Hey, that's a classic, man. Classic. But I mean, I think you're right, dog. That's when it kind of hit real, and I think that's when other people were like, "Okay, we really doing this?
It's legit." Yeah.
And it went from 2 days to one.
That's
I didn't know that
thing,
either.
right?
Like,
we never knew. You just thought it was always intended to be this way.
Right.
And even though Rustin was highly against that, it actually probably was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Right. And they had valid points. To me, when the points got valid to reduce it to 1 day was when they started talking about I can get many more people to sign in if they're not thinking about sleeping in tents.
Right.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, gotcha. You know.
Yeah. And then they were talking about going to the White House and marching around the White House.
Right.
That would have been on day 2.
And that's another reason why, you know, so again, that the government was trying to shut it down to one day, right? You know, get it down to one day because they felt more threatened by a 2-day event than a 1-day event. Right. They like, we can get behind this 1-day event for you, you know, and whatnot, because they probably didn't think it was going to be as impactful as it was. But they thought the 2-day we was going to have trouble.
And that was definitely a Walls of Jericho reference. They marching around the White House. Something's got to give.
Oh, yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, all these black folks walking around, y'all peeking out y'all windows now.
Man, something got to give. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, you don't like that.
Hey, but non-violent.
You didn't think the crack epidemic was gonna come to your bedroom door, did you? I think Malcolm X said that when the fight come to your door, your shit changed up.
It's different now.
What I'm saying, everybody got a plan.
What the young kids, it hit different, don't it?
It hit different.
It hit different. No cap.
Hey, I wanted to pull up some photos real quick of Bayard Rustin and let's see, this first one. I couldn't get a clear one, but I believe is that Abernathy on the left. I think. Martin in the middle.
It, So to Martin's right,
right.
And how many times have I probably seen this?
Because Bayard was real tall. They kept mentioning that he was tall guy. So
he was rocking that Gumby before the Gumby, man.
Yeah.
Now this photo right here. As many times as we've seen that front shot of him, this is Bayard right here behind him.
Right.
Now I'm have to feel like I need to go back and do some more research and watch all this. Now I don't know if he was back there the whole time, or maybe that was
image.
Which is it's just
wow.
This is another one where they're talking, and he's they're talking to each other, wherever they are, and then this last one they're kind of that's a zoomed in shot, but I mean this makes me want to go back and do more research, which probably everybody that's watching this or will watch it, I think that's the urge it should give you, because there's so much of our history sometimes we don't know, or that was covered up or that was hidden for a reason,
right,
that we got to go back and do.
Right. Matter of fact, Chico, me and my son Chico GoldenEye Creations, he's responsible for the music for the Forecast, Queen 3 and King, Perspective, Life Happens, a lot of podcasts on here. Also the graphics on all of those shows, except this one. And I talked to him Saturday, and he was telling me something that applies here. And he was like, your reality can't be reality if your truth wasn't true.
Right.
He's like, we don't have all the factors. If you don't have all the factors,
right,
if you don't have all the variables, he goes, how can you have got the right answer?
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna tell Ben, okay, this is the problem you got to solve, but I'm not gonna tell you all the variables that you go into this. I'm not gonna tell you all the factors and the quotient and I'm not gonna tell you that. So how can your reality be true?
Yeah.
If your past has been so glossed over and so
painted,
hidden and so hello.
What you do to one side.
So it's a lot of folks talking about they keeping it real. How can you keep it real? And then when you keeping it real based on a lie,
right? You don't even know what the real is.
Woke. How can you be woke? You don't even know what woke is. What they told you woke is actually sleeping.
Ooh.
You understand? You think you woke. You woke because they know you care about the moniker of being woke as opposed to the reality of being woke.
Right.
And with that, pass the love offering back.
Right.
Man,
you put some soft music on.
Here, let's put this back up. Put the stars on there. Benefit BS3 Network here by sending some stars. That's our love offering.
Right. And we prefer the money that folds, not the money that genius.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
Man, but think about that, man. Even in this little bitty microcosm of it is that we don't have the Bayard Rustin situation told to us truthfully. He's been whitewashed away.
Yeah.
So you got a whole history, a whole thought process about something based on this.
Right.
How many people? What if there's just one individual who now is going to be more understanding to the LGBTQ community because they said, oh, they're a member of that community contributed to the civil rights movement like that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh well, shit. Then let them protest just as much as Black Lives Matters. Then Let them do. Imagine if just one individual was moved by the fact that the LGBTQ was involved in this, like they were before. It was called LGBTQ. It was just called G. It was just called G.
It was called GL.
It was just called G, man.
Oh yeah, it's kind of funny because there's which I'm probably going to quote it wrong. I think Alexander the Great, he had a quote that said, I'm not afraid of the lion that leads I'm not afraid of the army of lions that lead sheep. I'm afraid of the sheep that's led by the lion. It's one of those things where it's one of those things where I'm not afraid of the faith that exists. I'm afraid of the person that exists within the faith.
Yeah, man.
Because all you need is a mustard seed.
Right.
And
that's right.
Like you said, Rustin, that was just enough. And like you said, I was like, wow, he put that together in a matter of moments.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a flow chart. He knew how he wanted things done.
Sharp.
It was like to the nines. It was like tacked down.
Yeah. And matter of fact, the future Miss Dawkins said this to me when we were talking about the movie we were going to be reviewing and whatnot. So let me restate that. Amen. The future speak things that are not as though they were. The future Miss Dawkins said that she goes, imagine if this had taken place today, how would he have been received? And in just an instant, we both at the same time said, celebrate.
Yeah.
Right.
This cat would have been lauded nowadays. It might have even been more impactful today.
It would have
than what it was today. So I thought that was an astute question. As soon as she said it, I'm like, ooh, that's making it to the show. I got it. That's such a good point. I mean, it's like, imagine how would he have been received today?
Right. Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. He wouldn't have had to just been the organizer and not the forefront person, which and he was. I think the biggest point, and I'm going to kind of fast forward to the end, he was okay with being that person because at the end, when everything's all over with, and they're like, hey, the Big Ten made it to the room.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, you got to come.
To the White House, the Oval Office.
Right. And he's like, no, I'm going to be as equal to the trash.
I told you, I'm comfortable being the janitor.
The funny thing, when I saw that moment, and I don't know if it's, I can't imagine. It's a long shot. How many times have I heard my grandmother say, even if you have to pick up trash, be the best person of trash at your job,
man. Yeah.
When I see
that must be in the manual, because when I say black grandma say that stuff, man,
hey
they
man,
done said it, man.
Hey, let me tell you, that blew my mind when I saw that scene.
Yeah, man.
I was like, I don't know if it's the gin and tonic or if it's the scene in the movie. I was like,
and then his staff is sitting back watching him do it. And that was a great way to end the film, man. So let's think about this again. It lines up with the word, he that is chief amongst you, let him serve. So this was the highest ranking deal, and he still did the lowliest task that needed to be done.
Right.
Well, it even ties into the lady that said, if I can just touch the hem of his garment.
Yeah.
If I can just touch the hem of his garment.
Come on here.
Right.
Come on.
And
man,
that's lead by example. That's exactly what that was. Yeah. You can't tell me what I'm not going to tell you to do something that I don't do.
Man, come on, man.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you something. When I used to work at this place around 2005, maybe up to 2008, and I finally got to like a lead position, and I was in LTL a little bit, working the forklift, and just kind of overseeing a certain department. New management came in, and what boiled them the most is that I wasn't calling somebody on that walkie-talkie to come move these boxes or this pallet.
When you could do it yourself.
Why? When I can do it myself.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that tripped them out, though. The people that you've just brought under your management, they're going to respect you more if they see you doing the same task they're doing.
Right.
Just because I'm a lead and get a bonus at a certain, that don't mean anything. I can move this pallet without the bonus and with the bonus.
Yeah.
Right.
Why should I stop doing the things that, just because I don't have to do it, you want me to delegate somebody to do it. What if somebody I delegate is dragging ass?
Mm-hmm.
To avoid all that, let me just do it. But guess what? I guarantee you the people that see me do it, they're going to be like, oh, let me get that for you, David. I was like, no, you good.
Right.
They see me pushing a broom over there and back and forth.
It's a bigger picture. Yeah, they're looking at a surface level view, and the 30,000 foot view says,
right,
this is the way it needs to be done,
right,
because you're galvanizing a staff.
Right.
You know, the way you do it, we're gonna get a pallet move. The way I do it,
right,
I'm gonna create a culture. What do you want?
Right. Yeah. Which one do you want? Once upon a time at the foot of a great mountain.
Yeah, and we won't start at 1 or 2. Make sure we give shout outs to people who show us a little love. So Sonny Cole, we appreciate you. Not sure who you are. You're on YouTube. Not sure how you heard about us or anything like that, but we appreciate the love.
He's a Facebook friend of mine. He's a podcast.
Okay, cool.
Himself. Yeah,
cool. We appreciate that, Sonny. Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, whatever the case may be, plenty the likes, the loves, the hearts, the shares, the subscriptions, anything you can do to help support us, we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I think another powerful scene. So he's at that house party, and the guy comes up to him, and he's like, which I kind of got a feeling they were Black Panthers or some type of militant or something, because they had leather coats and stuff like that.
I thought that was black.
Yeah.
And plus, again, we're Harlem, remember? So
right, exactly.
They didn't really talk about the Communist Party too much. They didn't really.
Yeah.
I mean,
a couple of things. That was like
one.
That was one of the reasons why. That was one of the things they were trying to use to discredit him, is to say that he was a member of the Communist Party.
Well, I mean, which maybe during that time that must have been like the back pocket way to get people.
Oh yeah,
I've heard that mentioned so many different times.
Yeah, it's like whenever after 9/11 they started utilizing the Homeland, Department of Homeland Security, and some of the things that they could do to, in other words, that's when profiling became legal, right? Because it's for national security. So they put that little term on it back then. If you remember the Communist Party, that's a national security threat. That's a national threat. Right. So now I can use that, and it goes even back. Now let me back it up some more from there. The Salem witch trials wasn't nothing but calling folks communists back in the day.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? What we need to do to get rid of, just call her a witch and you can get rid of it.
Right.
Burn
her at the stake.
Yeah, whatever. Let me see, if you drown when we put you in this water, then you must have been you must have been a witch, man.
Right.
No, we all gonna
come on, what the
we all gonna this ain't a Little Mermaid.
We all going down. Yeah. What?
What's up, Keisha? Keisha Walker in the building.
What's up, Keisha?
Thank you.
KW. KW in the house.
Yeah.
K-Dub.
But what was that? So when they were training,
remember when she was called K-Rap? Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Seems like so long.
Formerly known as.
Seems like so long ago.
Tell me, have you seen her?
Back in the day, we used to. Yeah, we got you with your 90s and your 60s.
Man, come on.
Yeah. We got all the eras. All the eras.
Man.
But he had a disagreement with the guy. The guy came up to him because he was defending his assistant / live-in boyfriend, I guess, whatever.
His boy toy.
Yeah, there you go. And then later on
came on.
Right. And then later on, he ends up calling that guy and say, "Hey, I need you to train these cops." Which that to me was a powerful scene. That kind of reminded me of me and you, Doc. When we training and we working out and all that stuff we was doing at a previous church. But they took all their weapons off because they knew if we go in there with batons and guns, we know it ain't gonna go well.
Right.
We could be murdered as soon as we go
me these yellow damn lights to put on top of my car, and I'm in auto clip. You about to get me killed.
Right. Yeah, we didn't have no flashlights. I don't think so.
Yeah, I toted my gun, whether you told me to or not. I just didn't I ain't gonna go out here.
I don't blame you. You don't get caught without it.
Run up on me if you want to.
Yeah, you see me reach behind this passenger seat, you better get to stepping, man.
Hey, don't get caught without it, man.
There's gonna be some flop.
Hey, lean forward, Chico.
Walk him down.
Right.
Yeah, walk him down.
But I felt like even though he had disagreements with people, he would still go back to him. And another make it right with that person.
Absolutely.
He did the same thing with Martin Luther King too. Knowing that they had beef, he just showed up and was there. And even when Martin seen him, he was like, he wanted to be mad, but he was like, man, he's in here singing with my family. I know this guy.
Because at the end of the day, Rustin knew, he understood why he had to do what he had to do.
Right.
He understood it. That didn't mean it hurt any less.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he understood why he had to make the decision here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
and if you think about it, had he not made that decision, we might not have got to where we got to. The idea didn't come up until after Doc King had basically turned his back on it.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And if he didn't do that speech, if that was somebody else, this would have never happened.
No,
I don't know if it would have ever.
It wouldn't have been as cemented.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be as cemented in eternity.
Yeah,
like it is now. I mean, it's literally galvanized in eternity. I mean, there's no. Now it's forever.
Yeah.
Even that one image you just put up. I mean, when he's speaking on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, it's forever galvanized in history. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that. Yeah,
we've seen that so many times.
Yeah. So what was funny about this, man, like when I gave that speech for the very first time, it was in a corporate setting. And when it was over, I was like engrossed in what was happening. I was like really sold out into the role I was playing. And my buddy who was standing to the right of me, because I had the scene set up like that to where I had dudes in leather coats around me and stuff like that. So I was a mix between King and X, So he was standing to the left. He said at some point during the speech, he looked over like this. Because he said, he told me, we talked real. He said, nigga, you turned into somebody else. He said he looked over at me a couple of times like, nigga, you all right? Because you went somewhere,
Yeah.
But when it was all said and done, man, we have directors, VPs, AVPs, they literally in tears walking out of the auditorium, man, And it was because, again, we got Mahalia Jackson playing softly in the background. We got the lights dimmed a little bit. We got we done set the scene to where we finna hit you right here, the heartstrings.
Absolutely.
And they walked out, man, like crying, like, man, I had no idea it was gonna be that movie,
And just imagine if you were there in that moment. I don't know, they didn't say how long it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, you had to have been, it had to not been a dry eye there.
Yeah. To see that glimpse of hope and to believe and still believe it. I mean, to carry it. I mean, there was a phrase in this movie that's out of all the quotable or whatever you can notate. There was a line, a phrase, and you'll have to forgive me. The lady, was that his mom or who was that lady he went to go see when they were eating at the table and she was kind of getting on to him a little bit, like she knew it.
I don't think that was his mom. She was
what's her name? Baker? Was her name Miss Baker or something?
Yeah, like that? Ella Baker, which she was a civil rights activist.
Well, in that moment, she said something that pretty much shaped the way that movie went. It also kind of shaped but the phrase she said, she was like, well, then you need to do the work. That line right there alone.
Yeah.
How many times have we put something back on the shelf?
Yeah, I remember I remember that concept.
Do the work.
Yeah.
Get the work done.
Right.
Like how many times have we put something back and said, I'll get to it later. I'll put that off.
Yeah.
But how many times has God or your wife or your spouse or your friend have you done the work today? Did you get that done?
Right.
And how much of it is on our own mentality and our mental state? How much of our mental state have we put on the back shelf and not done the work?
Right.
You know what the issue is.
Right.
You know what the issue is.
You already know what it is.
And the biggest question is, how much of it have you done half-assed? That's the biggest question. That's better than them black parents. That's better than them black parents. Don't do it half-assed.
Yeah, it's like how many times? I mean,
half-assed job ain't never done. Half-done job ain't never done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you just have we done the work? Have you done the work? Have you put in the work? Have you finished the work? Have you seen it through?
Right.
Or maybe you passed it, and maybe in this moment, Rustin passed the rest of the work, the heavy load, off to Dr. King because he was going to carry it because he became the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
But he needed Ella Baker. He needed He needed the guy. I think his name was Tom. He needed
A.
Philip Randolph, because there was times, I'm sure, that he was like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
You know what, man?
Yeah.
What about a film from the white perspective in Harlem for the people who was helping with? Because you noticed that it was 2 or 3 white folks in there.
Absolutely.
Why we ain't never told?
I think they
the movie from their perspective.
That would be amazing.
You
wouldn't it?
I think
like what did they experience? You know, because you got to know that if it was 100 people in an organization where there's 4 or 5 white people trying to help, what kind of backlash was they getting? Not only from people within the organization, but what about your family? What was they saying? What about your,
Look at Tom. I mean, I got a sense from Tom on 2 fronts.
Yeah.
So I'm going. Sorry, Ben. I'm going to probably ruin your contract. So you're a nigga lover, and then you gay at the same time,
right?
I mean,
you're right.
What?
You're right.
You can't come back. What?
The double negative. Yeah, you're not lying. You're not lying.
I mean,
and like you said, he left his home. I don't remember when he said what age. Man. Yeah, no, you done.
Oh,
yeah,
you done.
Yeah.
You can't come back.
You forever fallen from the graces.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, Roku and everybody else. I apologize.
Nah, you see, this is why he haven't apologized. See, we ain't never had to apologize on her for saying nigga.
Right.
But he had to apologize for saying nigger.
Right. Yeah. Because I
remain unapologetic, niggas.
The views.
You're right.
Expressed. But we can't tell that lie here because we is BS.
I mean, that's
how we gonna lie and say
you're gonna be one or you're gonna be the other, but you're gonna be both? Oh no.
Yeah, but in this role, the views is this of King Dawkes in his role as King Dawkes. Like that's what we needed a disclaimer at the end. Today's show, the views of King Dawkes was the views of King Dawkes in his role as King Dawkes on the forecast, not in his role as BS3 Network.
Right.
Yeah,
and so you talk about when we were talking about giving up something. Right. When he had that moment towards the end, we was like, man, basically he was saying, I gave up everything for you. And Rustin was like, I'm not ready though. I got too much work to do to be basically tied down by somebody.
Yeah.
So either you can roll with it or
I got new cheeks to clap and I ain't trying to do all this.
And then at the end, and then once it's all said and done, and they rolled in the scroll. Oh, he ended up getting married to XYZ. And
right. It told somebody totally different.
I bet Tom ass was like, damn, you mother.
damn.
I still lost.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom.
It was like them niggas.
Yeah, exactly.
He switched back. He went back to let's stay with his parents.
I march with these niggas. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah,
I was like, that was not Tom. So he found somebody for sure, but it wasn't Tom.
Yeah, it wasn't Tom.
Yeah. Now we didn't talk about this, but at the beginning when it started, and they had the little girl walking that was being walked in.
Classic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
Seeing her skip.
That was hurt, man. That was hurtful.
And then the people with the, I guess it was ketchup or tomato sauce or whatever that there was. And there was their white friends that was standing there. So yeah, if you were in alliance, if you were a partner, what do we call it now? If you were a ally, you were getting all the crap too. It wasn't you wanted us. No, it was like you wanted them. So whatever hate you get.
Well, you wasn't getting all of it, but you was getting some crap. Yeah, you wasn't like, we're gonna take you up to lynching, but we're not gonna necessarily. We're gonna beat the hell out of you. We might rape you 3 times, but we're not gonna kill you at least. Right?
Yeah, because it was. I mean, even the lady on the bus, like we always said, it's taught. I mean, she even told her, I don't know if it was her daughter or son. She was like, "Don't touch that nigga." I was like, "This is what we doing?"
But you think you get turned black?
But then she gonna have this look on her face of, well, I didn't want him to get beat. But I mean, what do you think was gonna happen?
What you think was gonna happen?
But then you're gonna have the face of remorse that he getting beat, drug off the bus and getting beat. Now you gonna look like, oh my
It's
God,
too late now.
I can't believe what's happening.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Cut it out.
Man, and he probably never got that side row, man. The whole side. I mean, that was probably like 4 or 5 teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's gone.
And before we get
And they
to
all
Mike
seen
ratings,
it.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah, no doubt. Before we get to giving final thoughts on Mike ratings and stuff like that, I wanted to point out the fact that it was 50 years after his death that they gave him any recognition, acknowledged the fact that how important he was. 50 years after his death, not 50 years after the time when the thing jumped off.
Yeah.
50 years after he died, did it take you to give you any kind of, that's posthumously giving awards and giving the Medal of Freedom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
50 years later.
Yeah. And I'm sure coming this February, we're going to see a lot of Dr. King, pictures and videos and, around his birthday and also around Black History Month.
So
I wonder how
paying
many
attention to how many he
how many ghostly figures will we start seeing of Rustin and we didn't realize who that person
was even there. Yeah.
Didn't even know.
Yeah. So August 28th, 1963, it was the date of the March on Washington. And even up to the time, they're like, yeah, so a lot of people not here. So what you gonna do? And when I was looking at that, was that a blank sheet of paper that the lady handed him? And he was like, yeah, they're coming from this state and this state and this state.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that faith and that's that believing, because people were busting in.
He kind of lying.
Yeah, he wasn't lying, but people were had to get there.
Think about how many stories were there that we don't know about people who were trying to get there but got railroaded, for lack of a better term, from getting there because they were trying to stop the numbers from being what they were.
Oh, absolutely.
Who knows? This should have been 300,000, but 50,000 got stopped.
Because they said 100,000, and it turned out to be 200,000.
250,000.
250,000. $250,000. I mean,
yeah. And so 9 months later,
250,000, $250,000, $100,000
right. All that.
So 1987, he passed away, and at the time of his death, he was a humanitarian. He was on a humanitarian mission in Haiti, so he was still working for freedom and equality up until the point he died. And then, 2013, President Obama awarded him with the.
I wonder if there's any interviews out there with him. I'd be interested to see if, what was his reaction to his friend being assassinated? Like, maybe, I'd like. I mean, of course, how many times have we killed, Martin Luther King in some of these movies, and we know, what happens. I mean, I'm just curious if he had like any interview, or maybe somebody even spoke to him, or if he had anything to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did. He was very outspoken. It wasn't a topic that I don't think he wouldn't talk about. Even when they asked him, when they asked him about the rumor, he was like, "No, Martin, not my type."
Right. He's like, Martin, no.
I just YouTubed Wilkes, and there's one that was put out 3 years ago from an interview he did in 1979 on the success and failures of the civil rights movement.
I need to watch that.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? In 1960, okay, so here you go. You got an hour-long deal. Malcolm X and Bayard Rustin debated in 1960. Oh, so remember, we thought it was Dr. King's peaceful idea for to do a peaceful protest and stuff like that, but it was Bayard Rustin. So now this is where you're getting the militant Malcolm X and the peaceful Bayard Rustin.
Yeah, right. I need to watch that.
Yeah, so that's out there too.
I'm sure there'll be a bookend to what
he did an interview in 1982. So yeah, there's some stuff out there, man.
Yeah, and that debate is out there.
He spoke at the March on Washington too.
He did what?
He spoke.
Oh, he spoke too.
Yeah, there's something there showing him speaking. Yeah, with
I'm gonna have to watch these.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some stuff out there, man.
Yeah, I need to get. I'm sure there are bookends and more information, shining lights on subjects. I need to watch those.
And the whole planning, he comes to the steps and he's like, all right, what type of sound system we need to go all the way back?
Right. Well, I mean, he was, his wheels were already turning. I mean, he knew what it took.
His vision for what
he was a mobilizer. He was immobilized.
Yeah. And more of a shout out to Netflix and YouTube. There's a Legends Roundtable on YouTube where the March on Washington organizers reflect on their work. That just came out 4 days ago too.
Wow.
In the wake of this movie being released in November, so they got them sitting down to talk about it. It's only a 6-minute investment, so that's probably worth taking a look at.
No, I need to load up on some of this because I didn't know. I wasn't aware of this gentleman in these interviews. I need to take a look at it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, they even have a little biography of him, about 15 minutes long. So, yeah, there's some stuff out there. Now that we know where to look,
Yeah, exactly.
And
how do we know his name
and who to look for? Yeah,
right. Exactly.
So that's gonna. I mean, like I said, I have books downstairs. Eyes on the Prize, the Ebony American.
Yeah.
It was a trilogy. I think it only released 3 books. I mean, how many times have I looked through those books and didn't know who that was? How many times have I looked at PBS Eyes on the Prize and maybe he was in the background? I mean, he just didn't talk. He didn't mention it.
He might have been walking right next to King. We didn't know who he was.
You keep them books in the same place you keep them magazines?
Yes.
Big Blacks, Big Racks, volume 2.
They're less sticky. So,
all right, let's get the mic rating, man.
Yeah.
All right, final
Backyard
thought.
Backyard Pumps Volume 3 ain't the same. It ain't the same.
Oh my God.
All right, we can go to you, Doc, first.
Okay. So I always talk about IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb gave him 6.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, a healthy score of 86%. I thought Colman Domingo, man, that's one of the finest acting jobs we've seen on any movie we've done, as far as I'm concerned. Colman Domingo he was sharp. And again, I think there are a lot of actors in there. The Chris Rock understated deal, which is easy for somebody like that to demand to be seen or demand to be a certain way. Jeffrey Wright too, even though his character was a strong, his role was not overwhelming in this thing. They let it be about what it was supposed to be about. Bayard Rustin, period. And so my mic rating, we always talk about what we started off at before the show and what we ended up as. I started off as a 4 mic, but as I went over the cast and listening to this thing, I've increased mine to a 4.5 mic rating. So yeah, and I would say, look into Rustin. He may just be inspirational to you, and he may actually give you a different outlook on members of the LGBT community.
True.
All right, Whoops.
Colman Domingo. I mean, if you don't do yourself a favor, do yourself a favor. If you don't, go to YouTube, and I'm sure they have like some of his best moments on Fear the Walking Dead, because literally the way he's acting in this movie, he's the same person in Fear the Walking Dead. Like he's openly gay in there as well, but he's a little bit more conning and kind of deceiving, but his acting is just like demanding. Like he's just so good.
Yeah. Wait a minute, he's a gay zombie?
No, but I'm sure they have some gay zombies out there that clap cheeks and eat meat, but whatever. But anyway,
clap cheeks and eat meat, man.
We're gonna be like Paul Quinn College and lose our accreditation in this motherfucker messing with you.
Hey, that's coming of the night, man. Though.
What?
You put that on a t-shirt, man.
So yeah, I might have to. So yes, I think after watching this, it was definitely a 4.5 mics. Just because I didn't know anything about this guy, I never heard of his name. I was literally driving to work this morning trying to figure out, like, I don't remember any of this in Black History Month. Like, I don't remember this guy popping up. I don't remember anybody talking about him. Nobody talked about, because like I said earlier, when Dr. King went to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, I'm thinking, well, did they just know he was speaking and they flocked there? You didn't think that deeply, that it took buses and it took coordination and it took security and it was just one of those things where, wow, this was great. So I had never heard of his name, never seen. Well, I say I'd never seen him, but you see something, but you really don't pay attention to seeing it. But No, 4.5 mics for me. I definitely want to watch some of those things that Doc had found to get some more information. I feel like that's a bookend or a little bit another level of looking into how the civil rights was mobilized. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It was some good acting. I mean, there was things that that were new, definitely new to me. I didn't even act like I knew anything because even when they had Dr. King at the table, I mean, he was reluctant to even take the honor.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
He
reluctant
didn't
to
want to do
even
it.
like, why me? Like what?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so definitely it was a new side of that, a new level. So which I appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, man, it had so many it was like a documentary film because I
Yeah.
mean, obviously there were
Right,
actors, but
right.
it broke down so much. And the way they kicked it off, they really hit you when they kicked it off. Like, yeah, this wasn't a pretty time. This wasn't a time where we were welcomed or we were
Right.
given opportunities. We had to take the opportunities. And this is
Yep.
exactly what they
Oh, you
did.
had to because they weren't giving
Yeah.
it to you.
Nah, it wasn't gonna be on a
Oh
plate,
hell.
you know. I mean, when they came to meet, and he was like, "Yeah, we're making this a 2-day thing. It's gonna be right here," and it was like, "No, it's gonna be a 1-day thing, and you only get this amount of people or something." To they were
Right, right. Yeah.
basically arguing about, but I mean, his resilience in this time to do this to me is amazing. I felt like the characters were casted great. Applaud to Chris Rock in this particular role. And I'm gonna give it a 5. I had a 5, and I'm gonna give it a 5. I felt like there was really no flaws in it or nothing. I was like, they could have did better. I
Yeah.
feel like they delivered it, and I think it was perfect. It's perfect timing, but I do wish I would have known sooner because a lot of stuff we watched growing up, I'm sure he was there. We just didn't know who he
Right.
was. So,
Right.
but it's been no better time than the present. So, but I'm
Absolutely.
gonna give it a
Right.
5.
Well, with that said, that leaves our with that being said, that leaves our average then at 4.5. I suppose if HRAP, for the official posting on the channel and everything, once you
Yeah.
have HRAPs, you can, average
Right.
them out accordingly, because he may be at a 5 as well, and that'll give the average
Yeah.
of 4.75, so we just need to know
Yeah.
where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So next week we are not sure, but someone did give me a recommendation of American Fiction. I don't know if this is out yet, but this is a Jeffrey Wright film. Jeffrey Wright is highly underrated.
No
It may
doubt.
be out now.
No
American
doubt.
Fiction. Yeah, I
If
think
it's
it may
Jeffrey
be
Wright,
out
I'm
now. We'll
in.
see. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Period.
Jeffrey Wright,
That's
man.
how I feel about him. I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
with
Oh,
whatever he wanted.
Yeah. So we'll look into it to see where it is, if it's available or what. And also Theodora gave us some recommendations as well. So but Queen 3 and King, will there be a Queen 3 and King tomorrow?
It's a damn shame. You gotta ask, ain't it? Yeah, we're gonna do the show that we were scheduled to do last week. We actually had a death in the family. So we had to, of course, rally around, our family
Right.
members and get that taken care of. But
Right.
this should be a good show. It's called Protecting Your Hope,
Okay.
and we've all protecting your hope. And
sorry.
we've all been in wow, not protecting your hope.
Well, yeah. I was like, what?
Protecting your hope. That's a different show. We'll do that the following week.
Okay, all right. I was like, what? Hey.
Protecting your hope. We've all been in a situation where we've hoped for something, right?
Right.
Our community, our people as a whole, it's like we've been in a disposition of hope more than we probably done been in any other disposition.
Hey.
We talk about protecting your peace, but we ain't never talked about protecting your hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
I want to just jump in right quick with Doc. I mean, I was just thinking about this. It was something I was watching, but I mean, and I said this before. It's like think about the ancestors. I mean, they were singing in the field in hopes that somebody will hear this. Now, I may not survive this, but nobody else is for me. Nobody else is standing for me. So I'm hoping that the Lord is hearing my cry. I mean, my lamentations. I hope that I will come out of this. And if I don't come out of this, my future bearings will come out of this, my fruits. So yeah, I think that's right. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, you imagine living in a time where you just felt like nobody was for you, but everything is against you. But I got hope.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I can cling on to anything else, I got hope.
You might need to come on tomorrow, man. You need to holler at me, see if you're available or something. You know, just reach out to.
I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
Let's do that, man. Come on, man. Let's talk about this, man.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's everything. I mean, it's like when the wheels are falling off.
That's right.
You know, I got hope. Something.
They still, man.
Right.
Think about it. How haphazardly we put it out there, man. You protected it. So, because how many folks just say, man, I done gave up hope on that. I ain't got, matter of fact, you won't even let somebody call me a hopeless romantic. When they find out about it, they say, you're just a hopeless romantic. I'm like, no, the hell I'm not. I'm a hopeful romantic.
I'm hopeful.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a romantic.
I'm open to receive.
There's hope. There ain't no shit. Nah. So, let's talk. Come on, Wilkes, with us, man.
Yeah. No, I'll come on. Yeah, I'll come on.
Yeah, it'll be a great show tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here on BSC Network. And it looks like I believe HR will be on tomorrow. It looks like the topic is Stop, Look, Listen. That'll be 6 Central. So make sure to tune into the bench. You see it scrolling down at the bottom. Also, what's up? Kicking it with Kesey in the building. Said, bros, appreciate you tuning in. And we'll be back next week and with another show, same time, same channel. And we don't have A-Trap, but one of y'all want to close us out? Give us a benediction.
No, we're good.
You can't have somebody who said clapping cheeks close your eyes.
Nah, man, I can't. Yeah, I can't be doing that.
You got it, man. You get a benediction.
All right. Well, till we meet again.
Until we meet, reach out and touch somebody. Make this world a better place.
Will you come?
We only got 2 chairs.
Bring it
down.
Got
2 chairs. Bring the 2 chairs.
Bring
the 2 chairs back.
His grace is waiting. His mercy is whole.
Hey, if there's 3 people, one of y'all got to
just step out that aisle right now.
Come on down.
I'll come get you. If you don't want to walk down by yourself, I'll come walk with you.
Man, come on, man.
I'll send one of my side pieces to bring you on down.
Okay.
And on that note,
hey, man.